Hi and welcome to another episode of the Getting Things Done podcast from Vital Learning. I am Morten Røvik and I'm here as always with my good friend and colleague Lars Rothschild Henriksen. Привет, Lars.
Привет, Morten. Good to see you as always, and it's always good to be with our listeners and viewers out there. We always start off with a quick reminder of the purpose of this podcast, which is to help you learn GTD or become even better GTDers. We hope that today's episode supports you in that. If you are new to GTD, we always recommend you go back and find the audio versions of episodes 1 through 6. That is where you'll find an introduction to the basics of GTD, the 5 steps. Today's episode number is number 113, and we have titled today's episode The New Microsoft Planner with Stefan Pilo.
We have, and this is a very interesting episode because it is going to be nerdy. If I know
because
Stefan
the other
correctly.
ones are not.
Yeah, well, it's nerdy, but it's tools nerdy this time. Yes. We do nerdy when it comes to GTD, but now we are going deep into a tool and a very fascinating one, Microsoft Planner, which is a lot of people don't know that exists even. And very few know how it works. At least that's how I found people to respond when I said, you can use Planner. And they go, huh? What is that? And now you can know. Now you can be educated because Stefan, he knows his Microsoft. So
he does.
Should we just roll the interview?
Yeah, I think just a quick note that this will probably be an episode you'll want to watch, as we also state in the beginning of the interview with Stefan, that there might be a good time to look into the YouTube versions in there. And otherwise, yeah, really looking forward to it, both to get to know Planner, but also get to know the new Planner and the new things that are coming, because of course Stefan has access to some things that not everyone has access to, or not everyone have available to them in their IT Microsoft package at work. So we get a good, nice preview of how that works, how that could work, and of course talk about GTD.
A sneak peek into Microsoft's plans for Planner.
Copilot.
And Copilot, yes. So without further ado, let's roll the interview.
And now, our special guest.
Hi, Stefan, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So you will be a familiar voice or face to previous participants of the GTD Summer Camp. But for those who haven't met you yet, could you share a bit more about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So, of course, first of all, I'm a GTDer. So I've been working with GTD and using it for, I think, the last 15 years. And to that also a bit of a productivity junkie. But except for that, of course, I'm my day-to-day work, so I'm an employee at Microsoft, something called account and strategist. So I help our customers to choose wisely with the technology that they needed for solving the business problems.
Great.
Yeah. And other than that, I'm situated in Onsala in Sweden, and my wife and 2 girls. And I spare time I do some gardening and of course some strength training.
Sounds good. Great to have you. Thanks again for taking the time to join us here. We are recording this actually as a listener request. Fedder, also from the summer camp, the organizing group of the GTD Summer Camp here in Denmark. He works at a company where they use a lot of Microsoft software, and he came across the news that there were some big changes coming now to integration with Planner, Loop, probably some elements from projects as well. And he asked if we could perhaps share some more about this with your help. So thanks again for taking the time to join us and talk more about this.
Love to.
The plan for today. This is our chat here about what is coming. What we know is already been announced, and I know that you have, of course, some insights with the job that you have as well. And of course, we'll look at this from a GTDer's perspective, what's coming, and also how this might be relevant for GTDers out there. Stefan will be sharing some things visually along the way. We'll try to describe them as we go along, but perhaps this will be an episode where you will want to watch as well. So, you can always find these episodes either on Morten's channel or my own. You have links to both of these in the show notes, so you can find them there. So the starting point was the request from Feder, but I can also just add that there was a personal interest from my end. I have started playing around with parts of Planner. I'm helping a good friend trying to add some more structure to a company and trying to set things up. And how could we do that in the Microsoft environment? So I've been playing around with this for the last month as well. So both from a sort of a generic, trainer and GTDers interest in this, I'm looking forward to, but also from a personal perspective, how this might be set up and what functionality I can look forward to as well as we move forward. So, where would you like to start, Stefan?
I think I will begin that, of course, a bit of a disclaimer, as I'm a Microsoft employee, so I have using perhaps the earlier versions of things, and so the things that I'm going to show today perhaps is not widely public yet, but it will come in the upcoming time. We have both some functions and features, and we call it GA, so it's general available. And also some of the functions are also probably tied into a company license for MT65 and such. So as a private person, perhaps you don't have access to all that also, but pretty much, I would say, will be available also. So other than that, I don't know if you're a Microsoft fan as I am. So we have something called Microsoft Build, which is our big flagship event, and we just release a lot of news, and of course a lot of Copilot, as AI is very hot right now and has been for a while. And of course, the one missing right now is of course Copilot for Planner. So it's up. So I'm going to show you a bit about that also in the demo.
Can I just add that how impressed I am with that right now? I just, as of this recording yesterday and the day before, I had a level 2 seminar with some participants here in Denmark. And we, part of the level 2 seminar is that we dive into the natural planning model. And we spend a lot of time on that. And in a break, I just opened up Copilot and, can you share the steps in the natural planning model? And it listed them out nicely. And that's, I sort of expected that. They seem to be doing that very well, the large language models. Then I said, all right, so help me with this project, which was one of the ones that we had in the seminar. One of the participants was planning a trip to the US, a road trip. So I said, all right, so purpose, that would be the first step in the natural planning model. What might the purpose be? And it listed out 5 great examples of purpose, some that we had even missed, right? So, okay, well, that was a good start. What about vision then? And then it listed out a really nice vision, even better than we had come up with in there. Okay, well, what about the brainstorm? And then it listed out, right? It was so impressive. So again, as that assistant sparring partner, Copilot is probably a good name, right? It was very impressive what it could already do today.
Yeah, and also I use it quite a lot in my day-to-day work, but also from a product perspective, also to get all kind of information. So actually, it's more than actually searching for Google or other search apps, because it gives me a bit more context and also suggestion of next step and stuff like that. And also, as we are going into the new models of the large language models from OpenAI, it will be even more impressive, I would say, in a very short time frame. So I think from a GTD perspective or productivity perspective, I think you have to invest time to learn how to use it the best possible way, from prompting, and also to see some good examples to learn from that going forward, because that will help you in many ways.
No doubt.
So looking from a Microsoft and GTD perspective, if you look into the apps that Microsoft have, of course, they are kind of GTD-ish. There are things that are tied into productivity, but perhaps not in the way that we see productivity from GTD. But as I'm working, of course, as a Microsoft employee, but with the whole ecosystem of Microsoft products, of course, it helps me to tie things together, and especially with the Copilot, I have access to pretty much everything right now. So it's searchable and you can help me in a lot of ways. So therefore, I stick with it, so to speak. So. So let's go into the Microsoft Planner. So Microsoft Planner has been actually a product that was released like 10 years ago, and it's been used pretty much in different kind of, let's say, private or info worker kind of scenarios. But now this has been a bit of a, let's say, rearranged or remodeled from a Microsoft perspective. So now Planner is the tool that will bring everything together. So I have some slides just to show you how we are seeing the future from Microsoft Planner. And I think that's interesting also is that one part of the Microsoft Planner is project online specifically. And if you look for project, it was actually the second product that Microsoft released, so it's almost 35 years old. So
wow.
And the number one is actually Word. So you have some trivia in that sense. So let's see. So the first thing I think is important to look at is we are working quite heavily to connect everything, all products and functions within our ecosystem regarding task management to these three products, so Planner, To Do, and Project. And they are the database that are situated in these products are the ones that are used even in, say, Word or Excel or OneNote or even Loop now. So when you create to-do list or tasks, and of course they will end up in both Planner, To Do, and you can see them. So and of course we have something called task hubs that are, let's say, visualization of what you have. So for example, when you're working in Teams, then of course you have an app called Planner that will help you to see all the tasks that are attended, for both from a private but also from a team perspective or even from a project perspective. So we are tying everything together from a task and action perspective. So I think this is very interesting because that gives you one tool to use everything regarding related. So a lot of integrations. So what has happened is actually that the team that have been working with the To Do and the Plan and the Project is actually one team now. So they got a mission to let's say redesign or redo the planner to the new planner and incorporate all the things regarding to the task plans and projects into one tool, and then from the tool itself to be the step into what you want to do. So if you look from a work management perspective, depending on both the role and the capabilities, but also the complexity of what you want to do, then you can start either with as an information worker. For example, I keep track of things in To Do or in Planner. Then of course it can be like a Kanban board for something. Then I do it in Planner, and it's for me only, and I'm not sharing it with anyone else. But then it could be a project, or it could be even Teams kind of project. So I can do things within Teams that actually to share tasks to other groups or teams or members also. But then if you look at the next step towards more of a traditional project or program, of course, then it's a project online. And if you want to add more things in like customization, or you want to some like integration, then you're using what we call Power Apps. And the last one is more from, let's say, you want to keep track of every project within the company or teams. Then, of course, you have the dynamics part of keeping everything together. So it doesn't matter what kind of plan you want to do. You use the plan as a first step to go into that plan, or depending on the role and complexities.
Yeah, and it also lines up nicely with the team book coming out. I think that the more functionality is now becoming available here. I'm sure there are a lot of GTDers out there listening that will perhaps want to look into, so how can we take some of the principles from the team book and then implement them? And if they are in the Microsoft environment, then there will be some good choices for them to work from, I think.
Yeah. I have pre-ordered the book, but I haven't received it yet, so hopefully soon. Good. So so I will stop there. So yes, and so depending if you want to do, let's say, individual task or team projects or Kanban and goals, then you use the planner. If you could want to do larger projects or for portfolio managers or agile Scrum, then you go into the projects and above. So let's go into the planner. And the first thing is that the planner itself is actually embedded into Teams as an app. So for anyone want to try it out, you have to add it in the left side of Teams, and you can push for more apps and search for planner. And if you are with the right licenses, and then of course it will end up here also. They are upcoming during this year. We will also do an refurbished on the web, the plan for web plan. So it will look the same and everything, but the first thing out was the plan for Teams.
Got it.
So as you see, the planner is much alike. It's a little bit of design changes. I think the one that is on the left side is my task and my plans that are the new things, and also the possibility to add your own folders and categories on the left side to pin them. So I've pinned all my categories and folders from to do in here, so I can use them also in a good way to find new tasks. So the first thing is my today. So we have the possibility to create new tasks. So for example, as I'm going to do today, I'm going to plant grass. And as created now, it says this is a private task. It's no due date and there's a priority medium. And if I look at my to-do, it ends up here also in my day. So there are a very swift integration between the systems also. So everything that you have created either in to-do will end up in Planner also.
Got it.
So yes. So the next part is my tasks, and as I can't remove everything from my tasks, I have to show you the PowerPoint version of it. So here are my tests. So here you can see both the private tasks that are depending on how you filter them are available, but also everything tied into either teams or even projects that where you have actions assigned to you. They will also end up here. And as you can filter them out in different priorities or due dates, and then of course it will show different amount of tasks. And also you have the possibility to have something called quick look. So if you have put it to my today in to do, it will be a little bit sound here. And also if there are like attachments or you have text in it, and I will show a little edit note here also. So here you can see I have my plant paprika here also. Then you can of course do filter either in private tasks, so it's my only task. Then of course see the one is assigned. It could be assigned either via Teams or project or from Loop or whatever. And then also the flagged emails, the same that you see in to do also. So the filtering, so it's what is you can do it either via priority, you can have due date, I think it's even a bit better than to do. So you can both late and to do and tomorrow and no dates. And of course progress also, as you're working with plan, then we can do some progress. We can exactly see how far we are coming each of the tasks itself also. So I think
have you used this yourself with your own GTD practice, that you would track this, or is this more from a collaboration with others perspective?
I would say it's more collaboration. So when I'm using it together with my team, then there are things that are in progress but not done yet. And of course, it's good to show that you actually have taken some step, or we are moving towards actually closing it, completing it. But for myself, I would say it's either on or off in that sense.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I haven't used the planner as the tool yet in that sense. But of course, if I'm doing more of a plan that we go through later night, of course, it could be interesting to do an in-progress kind of view also. But either for myself and my daily practice is on or off, and it's done or not done.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think for most people, this would probably make sense that the projects are in progress, that are on their active projects list, and if they're not in progress, well, perhaps they were on a someday maybe list anyway. So that probably would be the normal way to do it as GTD as well.
Yeah. So that was my task. So the other one is my plans, and my plans is of course here will end up all the categories, or not categories, context and maps that I've created into do. So each of them, of course, has a lot of errands and subtasks, other tasks in that sense I can do, or add into to my day here in planner also. If I create a new plan, then of course it will end up here also. And I think here comes the new things, the new part of the planner, because it's tied into different plans. So you have something called basic plan and premium plan. So the basic plan is more of either simple plan with some buckets, and you can get yourself, and also the tasks that you want to create. If you go to a template, then you will have, depending on what you want to do, you will get some help in actually to create, let's say, the framework of the plan. So you don't start with a blank canvas. And I think that's good, because then you can at least get some help and get them started, of course. And the basic part is either, let's say, simple, smaller projects, or something that you do in teams, in your team. And of course, if you are a bit more advanced, then of course the premium version is more towards that. So.
Yeah, the way I've been familiar with it from before, and perhaps for other listeners or viewers as well, has been with there would be a team, and within that team there would be a planner available in there, and then you would have buckets for the different things in there. But now that I look at your screen and you create separate plans, what's the structure there? How does that work? Are they connected to teams? I guess these were personal ones, so they were your plans, or how does that work now?
Yes, it's both. I can start with a private plan, and then populate it, and then when I think I'm ready to start sharing, then of course I can assign either task or share the whole plan to my team, and then we can start modulating and brainstorming, and then we can assign tasks afterwards. So I will create both a basic plan and a premium plan. So I can start with a simple plan. So for example, simple plan, and I use the templates in this case. So let's say I can paint the house. I can add it to my pin plans, or I can also add it to different kind of groups that I have available. It could be either a team in Teams, where I added the planner functionality into the team, or it could be a team that I created in the planner before, for example. So it's depending on how you want to share it, in what kind of context.
Yeah.
So now it's starting to use the template itself, and then pre-populate some things. I mean, if you look at the structure of it, so it's I would say like a Kanban or that's if you're common with the agile methodology, then of course it's using the backlog for things that are upcoming and the things that you want to do next, and in progress and block this. So it's a good way to get started. And you have some views up here, so you can start with the grid task if you want to see. So here you have this complete kind of task list that and the tasks that are created from start, and you also will see who is assigned to each of them, and also if there are any start dates, and also priorities, of course. Also, I like the Kanban view to actually let's say move things that depending on where they are, and also of course to see the progress in that way. So I like more visual kind of look at it. And of course,
yeah, I think the bucket view will be very familiar for people. You know, the grid view may be nice for the Excel happy people out there. I could perhaps be included in that group, but certainly it's nice to have the different buckets. Like you can move things around. You have the checklist. You can assign. You can put in due dates. It offers a lot of really good functionality there. And I think you were about to click on the schedule part, which is also a nice view.
And of course, if I look at actually an add-on into Outlook for a couple of years ago that actually did that for all tasks or actions that you had within Outlook to create your own Kanban. I really liked it because it was easier to get a better overview of the things that are for today and also for tomorrow, also in the backlog. So, it ended. So hopefully we will be able to use this even for our tasks that are already created. For now, the tasks that you will see here have to be created in Planner to be able to see them in the Kanban board. You can create a plan and create actions, then of course you will see them to do, but for a Kanban perspective, you have to create it in Planner. So schedule will give you an overview. So here you will see if you put dates to it. I know that we don't want to do that in GTD, but if you do it, then of course it's easier to give an overview also of how will that fit into my team's calendar, in calendar, but you can see from a deadline or milestones or anything that is relevant. We have to redesign or reassign, and then also perhaps move the task depending on where we are in time. And then we have also the short version where you can see how many tasks are per bucket and the progress of them, and also if there are any overdue. And so it's more of a, let's say, a mini project management view in that sense.
Yeah. And I think this will be, of interest, coming back to the team book, for example, where there's talk about big P projects and little p projects, meaning that the small p projects, I think they're called, are the projects that you have on your own list, your own projects list. So that would be nice to be able to create plans for this. And then for the bigger projects that you collaborate on, I think there's some things here to help you do that, help you go through them, help you plan them as needed. And for, perhaps some of those personal projects that require a bit more planning, then I think this will be helpful as well to have that functionality within that the tool that you're using for the lists.
And also, I can't show it today, but the same is for projects. So if there are a bit more, let's say, bits and pieces into the projects, we have to have a real project, and it will be the same there also. So you will go see the Gantt schema, kind of schedule, but also the task, and also what the task is tagged to me as a person in the team. So it's the same kind of structure in that sense.
Yeah.
So that is the basic part. If we go back to my plans and a new plan. So then we have more to choose from, of course. If they are for software development, then they will change the name of the buckets, and the same for sprint planning. And there are even more templates you want to find, and they probably will be there more upcoming also. And then we have the premium one, and of course this one is probably tied to some sort of license going forward. But I just want to show you the progress, and also especially that we have a co-pilot preview here also, so it's interesting to see you're there. So we take the name. So I want to build a new fence. Fence, and I would like to add it to my pin plans. And now it's creating the plan. And let's see what's coming out of this.
It's creating a premium one. That does take a bit longer. That's fine.
Yeah. So the one thing I can say, a bit of learning to show it to compare to my to-do and the planner is that I can't rearrange the context. So when you're adding the pin parts at the left side, so you have to start with the ones that you want to have in the bottom. So you take them in the right kind of order. It probably will come in some future update, but
yeah, that does certainly sound like something that would be available in a future version.
And there are some parts, let's say in to do there, I think the simplicity is actually winning in that sense also. But I think there will happen a lot of things coming forward during the year also. So.
And how do the plans show up over in to do? I know you showed how you added things to My Day contents on the plan. Do they show up when they are assigned to you, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we have assigned to me. So there you will see either if it's from, it could be a regular task in by my to-do, or it could be something that you have in the planner. But it will end up there. And they have the same, the flagged emails part was in planner also. So yeah, and yeah, so here you see the buckets that are added to the paint the house. I can't see the bucket themselves, but it's a link to the
That's nice.
So you can easily go there from there. I haven't tried it, so but it will end up in the web version of so.
But it's nice to have that integration, and we see this more often, and I know Morten does as well in Norway, where you see this link back, for example, for emails that you want to add to your next actions list. Having that link heading back is a very helpful feature to be able to have that support material right at hand.
Yeah. So we have our new fence here. So here's the preview one, and then of course we have the co-pilot. The things that's been added to here is of course we have timeline instead of schedule. Now we have charts, so it's also a new thing where we can get some more information. But the new one is people. So here we can see what is assigned to whom and filter by keyword also, so it's a bit easier in that sense. We can add goals to be the overarching kind of perspective of the things that we want to do from plans perspective. So it could be a goal perhaps that are tied into different plans. And then also assignments. So here I can see all the tasks that are in either a specific time frame or via resource. So it's a bit more, let's say, project-ish in that sense. So you have a bit more detail control. But one of the things that I think is quite cool is the co-pilot, and this is something that I've wanted for a very long time, because as for now or earlier, co-pilot, let's say the tasks part of our ecosystem isn't tied into the graph connector that is so you have the data, and then you have something called graph connector where you add a link so it's searchable, and then you give it to Copilot. But now they are easier, and you have the possibility to actually ask either like planner in the case, okay, show me my tasks, sort them, create them, and stuff like that. So I think it's a huge step forward in the productivity and GTD perspective. Then
it's really becoming futuristic from that perspective, that it's not far into the distant future to show up to work, sit down at your computer, say, so what's on my to-do list for today? What do I have for due dates for today? And it can just search across everything and present it to you. I think that's fascinating.
Exactly, and also give context. So what is most important in context of, let's say, perhaps my customer, or it could be the upcoming meetings or everything, and you can tie that into also, so it will do a better judgment in that sense. But already today, for example, in the M365 Copilot, we have something called I can't remember the name of it, but like a list. So, for example, prior to the next meeting I'm having today, so if I click the Copilot, so prepare me, and it gathers documents, the meeting, the agenda. So it gives me the context of the meeting, and so I can do a pre-read and be prepared in that sense. So it gives us a lot of information to do better work also, in a sense. So even though if I'm in a hurry, then I will can get up to read and be ready for the meeting.
Yeah, so that's really the personal assistant, the personal assistant that's helping with that. Yeah, very cool.
So I think I need some tasks for building and painting the new fence. So let's ask Copilot here. So now it if it have the information regarding what's a fence and what should you actually do for kind of steps to actually do that, and I think I get surprised many times because it thinks a lot of more of things than I might do myself. so I told you regarding the travel part also. So it's very interesting to see how what you will come up with. So, and sometimes it we have to do it again. Let's do it again. Of course, it's a preview, so.
Yeah, no, but like I said before, we tried this, yesterday morning in the level 2 seminar, and it, it came up with the list, and of course the next step would be then to actually start moving some of those things onto the list and the buckets, and there you go.
So okay, so it gives me some grouping regarding planning, purchasing, construction, and painting. So it's a really good start, I think, and then you can add and remove if you want to, or modify, but still you don't have to do like the brain dump yourself and organize it. You can get good help from Copilot. So I think it's really interesting in that sense.
Yeah. The way we approached and the way we spoke about using it going forward was to, still start off perhaps with your own, if we're back to the natural planning model, your own purpose, your own vision, your own brainstorm, but then get that additional input and see, all right, so what did I have on my list and what did Copilot come up with, and then, merge the two as you see fit. And obviously that's a great start that you already have everything on your list now. And I guess you can go to the board section, and then it'll show up in the different buckets, and you can add a time on everything.
So it's going to show you, if you compare to the regular plans, then of course you have a lot of more options to fill in data and of course the effort. So it's, as I said, it's more project each in that sense, that you can add in those kind of things and the attachment stuff like that. So, and even connect to the goals that you do have. So it's more, let's say, a bit more advanced in that sense.
Yeah.
And yes, you have the board, and you can see that you can create buckets and that sense. And I'm just going to try this one. Let's see if we can do this. Give me some help regarding to create buckets to sort the tasks that are here, and so you can use it creating the next step and the next step and the next step. So help you along the way. as a co-pilot. So
Yeah.
I took the grouping. So for example, the planning, and then of course can put it in the right bucket just to see. Depending on what you want to do and when, then you can add your own. Then of course you will see it from timeline perspective, and here you see it's more of a Gantt schema. So I know I can look into setting up a date here. Let's say start today, and my wife wanted to be finished tomorrow, so
So you're in a hurry.
in a hurry. Yeah. So so it's a bit more involved in that sense, and of course you can depending on it will you can even tie it into the like a dependency perspective also.
Yeah.
So
that'll be very familiar for people working in project before or project on the web to do all those interdependencies and create that full project plan. Yeah.
And of course the same the charts when task is left, and the people part, and then it goes as we something like Sam, for example, let's say sell the house, so you have to build a fence for, then it could be something like that. So
and see how it's assigned. Yeah. So again, this will be sort of again transitioning into the team book. A lot of the plans I from what you've shown so far has been very aligned with the usual approach of using lists in GTD, and now we can sort of start to collaborate when it makes sense on bigger projects and use the more advanced planner things for that, premium plans.
And also I think for example when you're in a meeting you can have connect notes to it, and I think now is the standard is OneNote, and okay, I think it's really good, and because you can do the notes it, but if you want to share it with others or brainstorm, then of course you can use like a loop integration. A loop is another tool, and within that tool you can do a to-do list also, and that will also end up into the system with either planner and to-do.
For those not familiar with that, because I think that is also relatively new with the loop. Not that we have to go into how it works, but just overall, it allows some interactive functionality, I think, in perhaps or perhaps in plans.
It's more of, let's say, different kind of snippets. So you have a possibility to, I'll say, if you think of OneNote. You start a page, and then you can add different sections into it that are it can be, for example, I can do a smart list that I'm starting one in loop, and then I can fetch it in via my OneNote or in my email. So it doesn't matter where I am in the ecosystem or where everyone is, because they can add into it from which tool they want to do it. So I can tie it into so I create an email and I tie in this let's say brainstorming texture. Then you can do it either from writing it directly into the email when you receive it, or you can also do it from your own loop or from to-do. So it's a cross all kind of applications within the ecosystem. So it's a bit more, let's say, flexible and transparent in that sense.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how that then integrates. I think you mentioned with Todoist, right? So as an example, that could somehow work together, which will be certainly helpful for some people that have their systems in other software.
Yeah, and it's an connected world, so of course we want integrations with other applications, and also to be, from a user perspective, more easier to handle, and everyone can't love all of the Microsoft applications, but I agree, and so there are some openness in that sense.
Yeah. Behind the scenes, Morten is asking, does Copilot ever hallucinate?
Yes.
I guess that does happen. Yeah. So on the brainstorm for fixing the fence, you might see a suggestion to bring your hammer as well. But yeah. I guess that certainly does happen as well.
There are, let's say, one very different, very, very important aspect, of course, of AI is you have to create the boundaries for it. So both from bias, from ethical perspective and security. So, for example, when you are using the security, when using Copilot, it has access to everything that you have access to as a user. So if you don't have the correct, let's say, access or structure within like a file system or SharePoint, whatever, then it's going to find the information. So, of course, in the beginning, when it was launched for a company perspective, then if you were a bit smart, then you can ask the right kind of questions and you find information that you never knew that actually existed. So that's very important. Then of course we have something called AI framework where we already implemented the basic functionality in Copilot. So it will, if you ask them like questions regarding from an ethical standpoint, or it could be anything like that, it will tell it, I can't answer that, I won't answer that.
Yeah.
But also if you continuously, you have like 30 tries, if you continuously try to ask the same thing and trying to make it a bit crazy, so of course it will hallucinate in the end. But it's better and better, I would say. So,
makes sense.
And I would say, and especially in the newer versions also, where and of course they are improving it continuously also. So that was my small walkthrough of Planner. I would say that I think it's very interesting to look into. For example, for myself, as I'm in my role, I'm a, let's say, virtual team lead in that sense, and I see the potential in some of the things that we have to do from a team perspective to actually start doing not projects, but at least plans that we can help each other, and as it tie down into the ecosystem, then I can create use that actually ends up in each of my colleagues to-do list also, and you will be prompted to have uncleared, undone tasks. So, but I think it's good. Then you can have all the information at one place, I would say. So I see the potential for it, and it's more out to, as always, to learn to use it in the best possible way and to understand how to use it together.
Yeah, that really will be key, and I think that's the challenge that I've seen out there when we have had, worked with teams where they wanted to have this shared project overview, for example, or they wanted to have this shared overview and then assign tasks to people, and it really requires a lot of discipline or very strong GTDers to be in there and making sure that we have well-defined projects. If we assign things to people, we have well-defined next actions. Otherwise, you'll just get a inbox material coming from the planner task, and then of course there'll still be value in having that shared overview, but it'll then add another task for you as a GTDer sitting at your own desk and trying to figure out, so what should I be doing? So it's great that the functionality is there, and it still requires some good GTD hygiene, perhaps, to make sure that it works well for people.
It's a tool, so of course you have to figure out how to use it in the best possible way, and also to tweak it a bit towards what works, especially from a GTD perspective. So I agree with you, and then of course it's also, as I skilling a bit for the group. So how will we use it, and what's the policy of actually continues working on it over time. So
yeah. But that is part of where I see Copilot, for example, being so interesting, because I would love it if it would, just listen along, and if you don't define if you don't write down a well-defined next action, perhaps it could suggest, maybe you'll want to rephrase it as this, or maybe you'll want to look at this one because it's not very well defined, or maybe I see that Bob has 24 tasks and Lars only has 3. Perhaps we need to redistribute them a bit. Perhaps just again giving those inputs. Not that it has the answer, but just some suggestions in there. I think that'll be interesting.
And during the build conference, it actually we have released something called Team Copilot, not Teams but Team. So it will be a bit more of a companion, as you say, that will be in the meeting more actively. Keeping both information, but also collecting things more actively. And also in the after, when you have done, to summarize it and then to give tasks and stuff. So I think you're on the right way there.
Yeah.
It's not released yet publicly, but I'll try to use it as fast as possible when it arrives in Microsoft.
Yeah, you'll have to let us know.
Yeah.
No, and I have seen this in practice as well. I think actually Feder, who came up with the request for this interview, also showed me how, there was an hour-long meeting. It had transcribed, asked for it to be summarized, and just gave him, a nice summary instead of having to listen through the whole meeting with action points and key points to be aware of. Interesting stuff. Thank you so much, Stefan, again for your time. It's been very, very interesting, and I think a lot of GTDers out there will be, benefiting from this. Thank you so much, and I hope we can invite you back in the future when there is more GTD relevant news from Microsoft.
Yeah, I love that, and also there's a lot of really good information in YouTube or even our blogs or within our sites also too, if you are interested in digging into the co-pilots and the planner also. And so thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, David.
And we are back after the interview with Stefan, and I must say that I feel educated. I feel that I now know Planner and Copilot better, which was what I was hoping for. What is your feedback for this? What was your impressions?
Yeah, it's interesting. As I mentioned when I started talking to Stefan, I'm playing around with this myself and figuring out how could I do this. And now, with this updated version, the integrations that we are seeing happening between Planner and To Do and Project and Copilot and everything, it's really starting to become a very attractive package. I would say, especially the assistant perspective on Copilot, and showing up to work and, all right, what's happening today? Well, good morning, Lars. You have these 3 meetings, and here's a brief for each of them, and here are the stuff. You have 8 items in your inbox, and you have that stuff starts to show up. And again, we'll always need to do our work as GTDers, but making it easier. I think there's some interesting stuff coming here.
Yeah, I really like the thought of having Copilot as a personal assistant that can help you. It's like an extended part of your brain that you can delegate things to, or automatically it takes things seriously and try to delegate to you. Feedback to you when you need it. I like that idea. So I recommend you to go and have a look. If you are a listener of this podcast, go have a look at the video if you haven't done it already. It's have a lot of, he's showing what he's doing, so you will benefit from seeing it on the YouTube channels. If you haven't already been there, go there now. But are you ready to take us out, Lars?
Yeah, just a quick note to, this was a listener request. And if you have any requests, thanks to Feder for this one. This was really good. If you have any questions or requests for us, be sure to send them to us to podcast@vitallearning.dk. Let us know what we should talk about. This could be questions on your GTD practice, on tools, or an episode like this one, and we'll try to set things up. So be sure to let us know.
If we don't know, we will contact the people who know.
We'll find them to come. No,
yeah, we will find them and we will bring them to the podcast to your courtesy. So now, Lars, now you're ready.
Now I can remind you about the GTD Summer Camp 2024, which is coming up. As of this recording, I think there is 1 seat left. So if you thought about it but haven't signed up yet, then I hope it's still there. GTDsummercamp.com, June 15 to 16 in Denmark. 59 people now signed up. So much fun. So many great people are coming. We have around 2/3 are people returning from that were there in previous years as well. So I can confidently say that this is a fantastic group of people, and we're really looking forward to it.
Yes, indeed. It's It's one of the highlights of my year is to go to Denmark and attend the GTD Summer Camp. So 1 seat left, run and try. Go.
And when you have ordered that last seat, you can also just drop by vitallearning.eu, because that is where you'll find more information about what we do relating to getting things done, crucial conversations, and the other offerings that we have. You'll find your way to the different country websites, vitallearning.eu. If you are outside the Nordics Plus that are part of Vital Learning Group, head on over to cruciallearning.com to find your local partners.
Indeed. And until next time, as always, stay safe and stay productive. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
And you're rolling.